A warm welcome here, and thanks for all of you to be present here. There are many people in the crowd who have been a part of every edition of Handi Talks, and thanks to you guys for supporting us since the beginning. And there are many new faces as well. So I'm happy this, the Handi Talks is penetrating and it's reaching all of you. So in today's crowd, I see entrepreneurs, I see people from export. There are chefs, organic farmers, restaurateurs, cafe owners, and so many people here. And this is what Handi Talks is all about, to build a vibrant community in the F&B space. In today's times, there's a lot of change, like revamp going on in the way food is produced, processed, and even sold. Through Handi Talks, we want to be a voice and accelerate the good food movement and be inspired from many stories and learn through the latest trends and explore the hottest trends of the food industry further. So today's talk, we have Mr. Safi here. So today's talk would be by ARIANA Safi, by Mr. Habib Safi, who has brought in the Afghani cuisine to Hyderabad. And this is a cultural exchange, and culinary diplomacy, as my dear friend Gopi always tells me, how food bonds all of us, however diverse we might be. And I'm sure through the talk we'll understand that we are more similar than different. So I welcome Mr. Safi and moderator Rahul for the talk today.
I'd like to invite Mr. Habib Safi, please, sir. So before we start, thank you everyone for joining us at the January edition of Handi Talks. A brief introduction about what we are trying to do at Handi Talks. Handi Talks is an initiative by the Culinary Lounge to create a F&B ecosystem, a food and beverages ecosystem. Every startup now has an ecosystem. Like we have an industry for IT, we have an industry for manufacturing. Everybody has an ecosystem. I think F&B needed an ecosystem, and I think we are trying to do that from whatever little efforts that we can do. And today we are featuring some of the very brilliant stories. I think to start with, I'd like to take a moment to introduce Mr. Habib here. Mr. Habib happens to be an Afghani by origin.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
And he basically has brought something very, very interesting to the Hyderabad landscape or the foodscape, if you want to call it. And I had the privilege of eating their amazing food. So I wish that all of you will taste it. And we have made some arrangements today so that you all get to taste it. But before we go into those details, I wanted to just ask, sir, give me a little idea about why Hyderabad. Can you tell us a little more in detail about the Afghani cuisine?
Okay.
And the culture, how the food is basically.
See, Afghan cuisine is all about fresh ingredients and to choose the right ingredients and with the slow cooking.
Slow cooking.
Yeah.
Right.
It's part of, not Afghani, it will be part of Central Asia.
Central Asian cuisine.
Iranian will be there, Balochistan cuisines will be there. It's Uzbek, it's mixture of 3-4 neighboring countries.
Correct.
And
so how different is the Afghani cuisine from any other cuisine that we would have probably tasted in Central Asia? So if we have to make a direct comparison to the most popular cuisine, which is Turkish.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, I think Turkish is the most popular cuisine from that area.
It's very close to Mediterranean food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The difference, see, Indian is all the food is similar. Only the thing we are not using the garam masala and this thing. We're using only the herbs.
Right.
And the selection of the chicken or mutton or vegetable.
Right.
That's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our chef, our people should see and pick it up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The freshness is very important.
Very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And also we are getting like some herbs or saffron. Some items I'm getting from Afghanistan.
From Afghanistan.
Test.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me how Like we all know, I think, how popularly the Indian culture is interwoven with food. Tell us a little more about the Afghani culture of eating food or cooking food, or how is it a part of the culture?
See, it is food is the main thing in Afghanistan. You know, I'm telling you because a lot of this 40 years war in our country,
Right.
only their enjoyment is to sit and have a food or go for a barbecue or to picnic. They don't have a nightlife there. Food is everything, and cooking and enjoying with family and friends. Yeah, this is honestly part of culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, what is the main idea behind bringing Afghani cuisine to Hyderabad? Why did you believe that Afghani cuisine should be brought to Hyderabad? What is your take on it?
See, a lot of my friends, they are big fan of Afghani food. But really, I've been a lot of places. They are very good also.
Right.
But it's a mixture of other cuisines also.
Right.
But that was the reason to show them the authenticity of Afghani food
Right.
with the culture.
Right. Nice. Very interesting. So, moving on to the next question, I would like to know what are these most authentic Afghani dishes that you have included in the menu that is now available at Ariana
Okay.
in Banjara Hills.
Yeah.
So, what are those authentic Afghani dishes that you have brought here? I know all of them are, but few of them, if you can
Okay.
just mention.
Yeah, Kabuli pulao is one of the most famous.
Kabuli pulao.
Yeah. It's a part of Afghanistan and Uzbekistan. It's
Oh.
the most famous main course we have in Afghanistan. Like it's similar to Hyderabad, they are famous in biryani. Afghanistan is for Kabuli pulao.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also we have chupon kebab. It's like lamb chops grilled without marination. It will be cooked only slight salted. We have that one. We have like mantu and ashak. It's like dumpling. That is from Central Asia also. We have
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
Mantu and ashak. Mantu is non-veg. Ashak is veg.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Very interesting. So, few of the other things that I think the audience would like to know is, because you've come from Afghanistan and wanted to start a restaurant in Hyderabad, what were the challenges that you faced, or were there any challenges to begin with? And how did the process go through? How long also you took? I think you can just brief us about that.
See, when you are going to a new country and establishing something is a challenge. It's not
It
easy.
is.
Thanks God with the good friends I have with me.
Right.
Everything was great.
Right.
And it was pleasure to work with them. And not only business,
Right.
I'm happy and having good time with them. Yeah.
So, while you say that it was very nice and you had a lot of fun establishing, are there any major cultural differences that you have seen between establishing, because we know that you have establishments across the globe,
Yeah.
and now it's Hyderabad. So, to set up a restaurant in Hyderabad, did you culturally see that there are some differences in terms of maybe recruiting people or whatever, chefs, or is there any basic difference, like a small or big difference that we could point at?
I
One or
think,
two.
see, the culture-wise, the way of business, or like the procedures, it's very similar to our country also.
Right.
Believe me.
Right.
It's not a big difference.
No difference.
No. It's very close. The culture is very close.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think you started it about 2-3 weeks back now?
On 2nd January.
2nd of January.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there how has your food been received? How is the feedback from the customers? Are they enjoying it? What are the sort of things that they are ordering? How is the whole experience for you?
See, overall, 19 to 95%, they are very happy.
Right.
Because the taste is different. They can taste the actual vegetable taste, actual mutton and chicken taste is there. And 5%, okay, of course, they are asking for little spicy or masala.
Yes.
But we are telling him we will do something else in the future, fusion we will add.
Right.
Some dishes that will be match those customers for us also.
Right.
We want everybody to be happy in our place.
Right. So, with your permission, can I invite Mr. Bajrang and Kalpesh?
Yes.
So, I'd like to invite Mr. Kalpesh, or also known as Bajrang Shah. He is, yes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
So that I don't trouble Mr. Habib with too many questions, I also wanted you to take some questions from me. So would you like to elaborate about how and why Afghani food in Hyderabad? You are one of the veterans, we know. You're a popular veteran from the food industry. So please, your insights.
So the journey with Safi started 5 years back. So when he came down to Hyderabad, he was into trading and other businesses. Then slowly, the thought process came in, why don't we feed the Hyderabadis the Afghani food? And then the opportunity came in, and 1 year back, we found the place, ARIANA, and we took it over. And in all efforts of Mr. Safi, he sat there and did the whole place. And that's when the real journey began. Whatever hard work he has done in designing the place, everything, the purpose was to see to it that we feed the Hyderabadis ethnic food. The first challenge was the chefs. So we saw to it that all the chefs came from Afghanistan. Wow. So as of now, the Afghani food is being prepared by the Afghani chefs who have come down from Afghanistan, places like Jalalabad, Kabul, Kandahar. So we have the chefs from different locations in whole of Afghanistan. And we have a different chef for roti, we have a chef for ice cream, we have a chef for a dessert, we have a chef who's looking after making the, kebabs. So there is a process to it. It's like a prayer for them, Before they start the work, they pray. Mid of the work, they go to the mosque and come back and pray. We say, "Arey, customer hai yaar, 5 minutes, sir, 5 minutes." So the whole experience is different for us. Here we take a lot of things for granted, but when this team came down to Hyderabad and we started working with them, it was amazing. It was like mind-boggling. And the funny part was they understand Hindi, but they don't talk to us in Hindi. So they would understand whatever we are talking, and then, when the food trials started coming in, I have a very good friend sitting in front of me, Minaz. Abdul made the first call on us, and he said, "Come on, guys, I will give you a chance." So the first kiddie party of his was done at my place, at Ariana, and the suggestions, what we got was some very good suggestions coming in, and that's when we started improving in the whole, the food, the presentations, and then we decided we will not do any changes, we will not add red chili powder in our food. So that's how the journey began, and I would invite all of you to come down and taste the food there, be my guest, be our guest, and you will not find red chili in any of the food except for the pineapple which I have marinated with chili flakes.
So the next question I would like to jump to, Mr. Shah, is you being a veteran of the Hyderabad food industry, what were your first thoughts when somebody said Afghani food in Hyderabad? What were the first things that came to your mind? And we all know that our Pizza Hut serves biryani, Our coffee days serve biryani. So there is a reason why we are called the land of biryani.
Yes.
So how and what were your thoughts, or what are the countermeasures, if I would ask, for a thought when somebody says, okay, let's do Afghani food in Hyderabad? What were the things that you had to take care of, and what were the things that you had to do, is one of my questions.
So the first thought was the mouth-watering, and we get some real good food. See, Hyderabad has a varied taste of food, from the, the Chinese, the biryanis, and everything coming in, mixing together. It's become a khichdi of everything. So whenever we thought of going for an ethnic food, we found it a little bit difficult, except for the Andhra Telangana food, which came out ethnic, no? Yes. Rest of the thing was all khichdi. Mixed up with all masalas, trying to please the person's taste buds. But so what happened with Safi was he was very strong. No, we don't want. And then I also started working and saying, let's not change the style of cooking. Let's not change anything. And that's when the whole thought process said, let's keep the food to the ethnic part and not. Might be we will be a little bit slower in getting the customer base in, but that's not a problem. Let's start feeding the Hyderabad as a real ethnic. See the bread, what we have it. It's freshly done bread. And it's amazing. I think everybody should come and try the bread and the kebab. It's like a real mind-boggling story,
In our past editions, we talk so much about the food and we don't serve it. So I think this time we are going to start 2019 January, we're going to start. Whatever we are talking about is going to be served right after. So, yeah.
Yes.
So, the other question I would like to ask Mr. Habib is, sir, when a customer comes to you and he talks about having Afghani food and sometimes not really appreciating what is served, like you've just mentioned, how do you usually tackle with that sort of a situation? Do you kind of go back and explain to them what it is, or how do you, like, just for people to know that I know a lot of people here are aspiring to be restaurateurs and want to start their own cuisine, whatever it is. What is your thought process when somebody says, oh, I expected this to be something different or more spicy? How do you tackle that?
So they are requesting. It's not that they don't like it.
Correct.
They're saying if we can add little spicy or masala. So honestly, I convinced them.
Yes.
So in future I will add like few dishes, but I cannot change Afghani dishes.
Yes.
We can start fusion
Yes.
with a county or Afghani to do something spicy or according to our customers
Correct.
and friends.
Correct.
Hyderabad is test also.
Yeah.
We want them to be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, Mr. Shah, I would like to know from you, whenever there is a new cuisine that starts in Hyderabad, I have seen traditionally that they have either converted into being very Hyderabad and Tel guys, or they have not really worked. What are those few steps that Ariana is taking to make sure this cuisine is not compromised, as well as we have happy customers?
So I'll just tell you something. There's something called educating the guest who comes into your place. With the restaurants around Hyderabad, people know what they're going to eat for. When they come to us, it's a surprise for them. So when they start putting the fork, I say, don't use your fork, use your hands. I think I told you also the same thing. So the first journey begins with your hands, how you feel the food, and then the taste comes in. So it takes some time for you to, get that food in. Basically, the idea is to taste the meat, the actual flavor of the meat. So what we have done is we have created a combo where we have, have a complete variety of dishes served in. So it starts with a complete process. So we have the roti coming in, we have the kebabs coming in. So people know what type of food they are eating in. And that's when I go in, I have my team, we go and educate the customer sitting there, the guest sitting there, saying, this is the food, what you are eating, this is how it's to be eaten. There's a very simple salad, pyaz, tomato, very simple salad. But then it goes so well with the food. You don't add salt, nothing in there. So when you eat that with the real food, the whole thought process of eating food changes for you. So basically, our idea is to educate the guest who comes in, saying, what food are you eating in, what it is. I'll just give a very simple, a very senior IAS officer came in and he was like, yaar, humne biryani yahan khai hai, wahan khai hai, aise khaya, waise khaya. All stories came out. And then I said, sir, try my food. So he came down, he had the food. Next day afternoon, he calls me and says, 10 years of this thing, the first night I have not taken any antacid. He actually called me and said, it's amazing. By the time I reached home, half an hour, 40 minutes, my stomach felt so light. I did not have any problems. Usually they take antacid before going to sleep. And he said, 10 years, I did not take antacid. That talks about the food, what we are serving in. That's how the food is all about. It should not start troubling you. It should go well with the body. That's what I feel the food is all about. So I would just say, when I was doing a bit of my management, there was a very senior, Mrs. Mathur in our IHM. So she used to tell us, beta, namak pakna chahiye. Namak pakega to khana pake. Namak nahi pakega to fir maza nahi aayega. So I strongly believe in that, if the salt is just right and it cooks with the food, then the tongue will and the mind will take it in.
So if we have to ask you, we also asked Mr. Habib, and we would like to ask you, for everybody who's aspiring here to start a new business, what are the few steps that you would suggest to young aspiring people who want to start their own business? How do they choose on a cuisine? How do they choose on a specialty? How do they go about the whole process? If you can brief about the process, share your knowledge of how somebody should go about if they want to start any food business, because you've seen most of it. So how and what I think are the, let's say, 5 steps that they have to make sure they know before they go here.
Rahul, first I would say anybody, he should have a passion to eat. You know, he should love to eat his food. He should enjoy his food. He should not just eat just because he has to eat. He should really relish. खोपरे की चटनी भी जब टेबल पे शेफ लगाते हैं, हम उसको मज़े से चाट के बोलते हैं वाह क्या मज़ा आया करके. So that is the first step I would say, कि you first enjoy what you're eating wherever it is. Let it be Chinese bandi also, because he's also putting a lot of efforts to give you something which is delicious. He's mixing so many sauces. And he's seeing to it, you're, licking the plate and then putting it on the ground. So basically, the passion to eat the food is the most important. Then understand what you want to do. Don't compromise on small things. It is very difficult to start it off. When you start cooking the food, you want to compromise on the pricing and see you make more profit. No, that's a very wrong thing. Even we had our arguments, we had our discussions where we said, nahi yaar, ye kar lenge. But then ultimately we decided, if I am going to give good food to my guests coming in, they should really relish it. And they should talk about the food, what they have had it. So you should never ever compromise on your quality of the food. Let it be a small joint. People should come to you because of the flavor and the taste you want to give. And then the passion with what you talk about your food. That is the main selling point. Today, I personally stand with every guest and tell him what is mutton chopan, what is kobida kebab. You have to.
In most cases, you also teach us how to eat.
Yes.
I have seen that. I have a personal experience.
I tell every customer who comes in, I said, Indian food or the food what is coming on your platter is to be enjoyed with your fingers. The body has to feel the heat of the meat, and then only it starts you really relishing the food. Otherwise, I don't see why you should even come to my restaurant.
So, few other steps that I think people who want to start their own business, what are the things that they should look into according to you? You mentioned passion for food.
Oh, yes.
You said how you design your food, how
yes.
you price it. These are few points. What are the few other points that you can suggest to people who wanting to start or get into this business?
Location plays a very important role.
Location plays a very important
whatever it is, location plays. And then basically, whom are you targeting,
Correct.
What type of
So
people
defining your target
Yes.
audience is very important.
Yes, so in the audience, we have quite a few people who have actually really struggled their way up the ladder, and then how it is like, I have a guru in front of me, I have my very good friend Chalapati, I have Minaz there, I have some other people there who actually, I have seen their journeys, how we started. So we all have struggled our way to reach wherever we have reached today. And I think none of us have compromised in whatever we did. We said, nahi kamaye to koi baat nahi, but we will not change the quality of it.
Correct.
So that is the most important. Wherever you are, koi galli mein bhi rahoge na, wo aadmi dhoond ke aayega.
Right.
So today I'll give you an example. There are some bandis in Charminar. True. People go all the way from high-tech city to eat that dosa in that bandi.
I agree. Me being one of them.
Yeah. So I see that's the main reason, the guy who's standing there is the owner who's making with that passion.
We had Govindana in the last edition.
Yeah, so so that is all the story is all about.
Fantastic. So I think now we can open the forum for questions. If there are any questions from the audience that we would like to know from Mr. Habib or Mr. Shah, let's...
I invite you to be guest at my place. Once you eat food, then you can start throwing it all the questions.
First Afghan I've seen who has no hair on his head. So what's the...
Yeah. So almost 28 years I'm living in Dubai. I'm going for a business trip to Afghanistan, Central Asia, because the water is salty there.
Because of?
Water.
Okay.
And taking 2 showers a day and that heat, of course it will finish. This is the reason.
Okay. Seriously, what does Ariana mean?
Ariana is the actual name of that belt, Afghanistan, Iran, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. It was called Ariana. We are all Aryans. Yeah.
That's the best question.
Very interesting. Thank you. Well, Aryan.
In Hyderabad, I'm staying here for now 21 years. So I've seen many different types of restaurants come up and again close down. So what is that special or something which we really look forward to see that maybe for the next 10 years, do you have any plan in mind or anything which will help Ariana to stay there for the next 10 years?
If you had heard me right, I said passion. If you are passionate, then nobody can kill you out of the market.
I would say that I have seen many passionate people also start their restaurants, but the problem here is the audience or the whoever eats the food here. So they have a different taste, and I mean, authenticity. Yes, it is very important, but there are times where it has been very challenging to keep the authenticity alive. So I hope that Ariana will not be something which after maybe a year or so we go and see the red chili powder which you told and it's not going to be there.
No, no. See, as I told you, so we have a team here who's actually doing that work behind, you know. So we have Safi actually looking into the kitchen. I don't enter the kitchen from the Afghan side at all. It is his baby. He goes into the kitchen, talks to the chef, and every day they maintain that food quality and the taste of it. And when he does the tasting, if he finds anything wrong, again the whole process changes for him. So I'm hoping and praying that I will, as a team, we will keep our efforts, best efforts, and we are not interested in diluting it. The first fact is. Second fact, also we in Ariana we have created a coffee shop where we are doing the experimental food. So if somebody is really interested in changing his taste buds, I'll send him down. Ki bhai tu jaake wahan kha le.
Wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to visit because I saw the pictures from my friend Sankalp who has put up, and they were so engrossing. So
Ask Sankalp.
I know. I actually made a comment there actually when he posted the photos. I look forward to visit. Thank you.
Both our friends. I have been to Ariana, and but I have not tasted everything that they serve, of course. And when Kalpesh was explaining to us, I could see his mouth water. that warrants another. Of course, it speaks volumes about his passion for food, and it warrants another visit there. My question to myself as well to understand: how do you plan to market this? I mean, is it only through social media, goodwill, or do you plan to spend money on, whatever other medias we have, television, radio, and newspaper? Because it's very important for, all of us, especially the aspiring restaurateurs, to understand what the game plan for these kind of restaurants would be. It's niche as well. If you are going to market through these mediums, what is going to be the idea behind it? Is it content marketing, like you said, informing people about the authenticity and so on? Another question before I finish is when Safi said that he's going to have a fusion, is it going to be a separate menu altogether?
Yes. Completely separate.
All right. Yeah, we look. Yeah. Of course, he said that. But is it going to be a part of a menu which says fusion?
Yes.
Okay.
So both the menus are not going to be mixed at any given time.
Kitchen is different as well?
Kitchens are different completely. To an extent, what we have done is we have done non-veg and veg also separation.
Oh, fantastic.
Because we have a lot of this Marwadi gang coming in.
Of course, there's a lot
Though
of...
they eat this boneless chickens, but they come and swear to us saying, "Ki humko vegetarian chahiye." So what we have started a process is marking the utensils red and green.
Right.
And then we said कि एक side का पूरा दीवार हम Jains और Marwadis और Gujaratis को दे देते हैं और एक side पूरे हम लोग खा लेंगे. So that's on a funny side, but that's how we started working on it. Then, as you said, the marketing part is a very dicey thing. How you burn your money on marketing. So if you talk about a newspaper ad, he will kill us.
Absolutely. I'm just curious.
It kills us. My 3 साल का salary 3 हफ्ते में चला जाएगा अगर मैं ads डालूंगा तो. So then we started thinking how best. So we took 1 month in inviting friends and telling them, you pay and eat. And that's how it started working on. The word of mouth started spreading around, and that's where, as I told you, Abdul was the first guy, and I'm telling you, the way the response came was amazing. 3 दिन में हम लोग के पास 25-25 लोग की पार्टी आ गई. 25 into multiplication. So you also came down with a friend, you know. So the whole idea was basically to see how we propagate through this networking of friend circle. The second thing, now what we are looking as a digital media. So we are forced with Zomatos and all these people coming and eating our brains out and saying, "Ki aap karo iske andar aise karo, waise karo." So that fear factor is also there with us, you know. Agar Zomato mein nahi karenge to kya hoga? There's a lot of investment also gone in there. So we are also looking at those sides, you know. It's not wrong, but then we feel the pressure of this agencies coming and sitting on our head and saying कि तुम नहीं करेगा तो तुम्हारा नुकसान हो जाएगा, इतना रीच है हमारा, 5 लाख का रीच है, 7 लाख का रीच है, तो रात में वही 7 लाख का हिसाब चलते रहता है. So we end up in then, you know, bowing down to their marketing strategies. So that is where we have entered into that. We have also got into that entanglement of Zomatos and Swiggies and everybody. But then in due course of time, then what we are working on the Facebook and the Twitters, and especially I'm working on friends to spread the word. The idea is to educate them and tell them what we are feeding them and inviting them to our place. So as I'm one of the old Hyderabad families, I have enough friends around who are looking forward. So today I will be very, very frank in telling you, 70% of the guests who come in are known to me. They walk in, they taste the food, and then they are propagating. Like last night, we had a dinner, vegetarian dinner, for 70? Wedding anniversary for 70 vegetarian. Can you imagine? And today I have 15 bookings from the same thing. So that is how word of mouth actually spreads around. When he started Paya at Kakatiya, I was his biggest customer, and I would get all my old city friends to come and sit in Kakatiya. Midnight biryani and Paya. So that's how the word spread around. Kakatiya used to have only one hoarding saying midnight biryani. They never propagated anything else. So with that, you understand how the whole thing went up. So I'm also looking at friends and meetings like this, educating and talking about the food, what we are going to be serving, so that people want to come and try it out.
The question on my mind is that I've been doing a lot of traveling recently, and I realized that there is a lot of cuisine all around the world. Like, for example, like India, just like the way you change spices immediately changes the entire recipe. And I'm saying this because as somebody who is still deciding what kind of cuisine I want to develop, I'm wondering how you decide on a specialty. Like, how do you know that this kind of cooking speaks to you? And once you've found that calling, how do you build on that specialty such that it becomes truly unique? Because anyone can make specific cuisines from certain regions, but only true good chefs are like hallmarks of that region. And I want to know what makes that difference.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. What he says is, each of us can specialize in any cuisine we want to, given with the knowledge and the spices, availability of spices and everything. But how do you know your calling? How did you decide that this is for me? As an aspirant, he wants to know how to decide his calling.
Gut feeling. Simple as that. Nothing else works. Gut feeling, stand to it, it will work. If you are not confident of what you are wanting to give the world will not be comfortable to eat what you are selling. As simple as that. There is no second story behind that. Gut feeling, be very straightforward with what we are selling. Let it be a piece of one small, I tell you, गुड़ का टुकड़ा है ना, उसको आप रोड के ऊपर रख के confidently बेचो, देखो कितने मजा आता है बेचने में. No, I'm very frank about it. We have traveled around the world. We have seen the world. We have seen the best of restaurants, you know. When the chef comes out, he's having an attitude. And if there is no attitude to the chef, I don't think he's a chef at all. No, he should have an attitude because he's creating something. He's tantalizing your taste buds. You are really relishing. Today, Minaz is there. I remember in school with all the children, the first cakes would come, all the kids would be standing by the side and saying, "Ye humko khana hai." No, Baba, I'll tell you one thing. See, you were one of the sweet. No. But then you had that thing saying yes. But with us all, you were the sweetest lady. You know, she's the best lady you can ask for. When we go to her store, it's like the kids would walk into the store just to pick up those small she had kept in the tray. No, सबको वो डब्बा तो आ रहा है उसका पर वो सब small. And that is how we all grew up. So I will answer him, the gut feeling, you know. She started from a small room in her house, and now you see where she is. So it was her gut feeling which made it grow. Chalapati came out of IDC, the gut feeling saying, boss, I will give the world the taste what I want to give. And today we are all successful. So that's how it works. Don't try to do any circus anywhere. Go with your gut feeling and everything will work.
Safi, when I came to meet you at Ariana, I was talking to Mr. Safi and he was telling, I told him, we already have a few Afghan restaurants here. So why did you want to open another? He said he tasted them and they were not truly Afghan at all. And you wanted to bring the authentic Afghani food here.
Absolutely.
Just to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but every food, be it Hyderabadi or Awadhi cuisine, take Afghani, everything, they have very specific spices and all for it. And it changes from region to region. Even if I want to develop it here because of the soil and all, it might taste differently. So how are you planning to get the authentic flavor? Are you getting it from Afghan, like you bring your chefs also?
Yeah, chefs. All the chefs are from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Like we have for the main course, for the kebabs, for naan, for Siji chicken, for the handmade ice cream. All are specialists from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10% of the spices. 90% is the same, everything. Like zafaran, we have a special kishmish for the pulao. Few things we cannot get here.
Yeah, the Kabuli pulao,
Yeah,
I guess, the authentic biryani.
Yes.
Yeah. So you do actually get the
Yeah,
spices
I'm getting from
there
Kabul.
and, Okay, that's it.
I would like to thank both the gentlemen, Mr. Habib and Mr. Shah, for coming here.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.